Hey, I'm Jackie Robertson with Berkshire Hathaway Georgia Properties. I am at the model home in 12 Parks this weekend for Dustin Shaw Homes, and I thought I would go back and just get plugged into video again. And we are going to talk about why our current housing situation is not what happened in 2005, 2006, 2007. A lot of people come in, or you talk to buyers right now, and they're like, really, how can this just continue? How can we be on the same train of thought with home value and everything? Well, we're going to talk about that and just review a couple reasons. So that we aren't, by the way. So let's just flash back to about a year ago at this time. Majority of us, April of last year, were sheltering in place. We were dealing with the very beginning of the COVID pandemic and what it was going to affect and how it was going to change things in 2020. So we come out of that in May and June of last year, and what happened was you had pent-up demand, you had low interest rates, and that, along with, let me check my notes, so sorry, limited supply of houses. Limited supply. So I know in the case of the builder that I work for, we had spec inventory on the ground that was either under construction at the time or we were just finishing last year. So we take all of that and we start to end 2020 and really probably the end part of the year. I would say November on, we just really were having a very high demand for our spec inventory. Again, here we are, we've had pent-up demand, our interest rates are still low, although they've been all over the place, and then we had a limited supply of homes. So we flipped the switch to 2021, and our demand today, let's just kind of talk about, like I said, what's different. Our demand today and the demand we're experiencing is, it's real. It's not manufactured. When you look back at 2005, 2006, 2007, you had builders building houses very quickly and pricing going up quickly, but it wasn't real supply and demand. They were inflating or creating artificial supply and demand. Today, what we're experiencing is a true supply and demand situation. Also, lending standards. When you go back to 2005, 6, and 7, lending standards were much more lenient than they are today. I mean, I hate to say it, but you could almost just blow on glass, if my hand was glass, and you were getting a loan. Whereas today, lenders want someone who the borrowing risk is low. So that is very different than where we were in 5, 6, and 7. Also, our average home appreciation. The average home appreciation in 2005, 6, and 7, you were looking at more like 10% appreciation versus where we are right now, which is about a 6% average for most homeowners. Inventory is down. Like I said, we still have very affordable housing, even though we are experiencing an increase in lumber prices right now, and that is driving increased pricing, also supply and demand, economics with the cost of new construction. So it's a very different market than we were in at that time. The other thing that I would mention is that at that time, people were taking a lot of equity out of their house in 2005, 6, and 7, and they were just doing whatever. Going on vacation, taking equity out, and just sucking all the equity out of their homes. And people have learned their lesson from that, and we're not seeing that. So this is just a few things as to why we are not experiencing the same thing as we were almost a decade and a half ago. So if you, and all of this came from Keeping Current Matters. So if you have any questions about sourcing of information, that's where I have mine. So if you have any questions about real estate, or you're curious about your home's value, you've got children graduating in a couple months, and you're ready to make a move, then let's get together and talk. I'm Jackie Robertson with Berkshire Hathaway Georgia Properties, your running realtor.